Hello and welcome to Never Seen It. Da da da.
We already have lyrics to this song.
I didn't write this one. Hi, this is Betsy. I am the host today, and with me as always is Trent.
Hey.
We have reached the halfway point of our Indiana Jones series. So we are ending the original trilogy today with The Last Crusade from 1989. Trent, this is probably going to be another short intro because you have revealed to me that once again you are an ignorant boy.
I know nothing about this.
When it comes to these movies.
I know nothing about this. Sean Connery is the father.
Excellent.
That's
wow.
It. That's it.
How have you gone your entire adult life without at least absorbing something about this trilogy?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't.
You are a fascinating specimen, Trent. But this is why we have this podcast. This is why we are doing this series. And so far, it seems like we've been getting some pretty positive response from people because this is a series that everyone but my husband has watched before.
I mean, it's almost as if we would be doing Star Wars for the first time or the Matrix trilogy for the first time, which we did half of it.
We did half of the Matrix just because I'm slow to the party.
For those anyway.
But you're way slower on this series.
Yeah.
But yes, we know that most people, at least in our circle, have seen these movies. You're going in once again to recap where we've gotten so far.
Yeah.
Pretty much blind. You had not seen Raiders but once. You have only seen Temple of Doom now exactly one time.
Yep.
And here on out, as before, you don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah, and, I know that the first one was just the original. The second one was a weird prequel that probably shouldn't exist. And the third one is the continuation, I think.
So, if you were going to make an educated guess about number 3, just wild speculation since you don't seem to actually know, what do you think is gonna happen?
Well, based on the conversations we've had during these podcasts, you have told me that we're kind of going back to the timeline. We're advancing the timeline. I have a feeling the Nazis are back and they're going after the next religious artifact.
Take a guess. What do you think it is?
We already talked about this. Oh, what is it? It's the Cup of Life. Is that what it's called?
It's Ricky Martin.
Yeah, Ricky Martin.
Ole.
Yes.
Not quite. You're right. It's a cup. Think Monty Python. What are they looking for in their movie?
It's the Holy Grail.
Hey, he got there. So yes, Sean Connery, Holy Grail. We're continuing the story. So we're just going to leave it at that because otherwise we're just going to be milking this intro forever.
We're going after the Cup of Life. Come on.
All right. Well, we're going to go watch Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and we will be right back. And we're back. That was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Trent, we've made it through 3. How are you feeling?
I'm glad they went back to their roots here.
How do you mean?
Punching Nazis in the face.
That's what this series is all about.
I mean, so far anyway, it's been 2 of 3. I don't know what the rest of them are going to be. I doubt there's going to be Nazis in 4 and 5.
I think there's Nazis in the 5th one.
What?
If you've been watching the trailer, I feel like those are Nazis. But it's because there's a lot of back and forth going on. But we aren't there yet. We're talking about number 3, and there are a lot of Nazis.
Yes.
Because we are in 1938, and we are in Europe where, Nazis were.
Yeah. So, for this one, I had a really good time. This was fun. I don't know if it's going to take me a while to make a list. We'll wait until we're at the very, very end, but I think most people really like this one, don't they?
I'm going to tell you right now, I think this is probably my favorite. It is not the best one. I think by far Raiders, the original Indiana Jones,
Yep.
as a movie, is the best of the series.
Yeah.
But this one is just so silly and so fun, and
Yeah.
the action sequences are enjoyable.
That's the thing. This movie is fun. It is more fun than the other two movies. I think it's got better jokes. It's got actual jokes here.
Oh yeah, and they repeat. And it's not just that there are jokes, it's that these jokes have somehow transcended into other pop culture. Because as we were approaching a scene, I realized, wait a second, there's a joke here that I know is in a movie Trent has watched,
Yep.
and he's going to understand this reference now.
Yes, and I do believe that I had seen this scene. I didn't know what the hell they were in, but I know the scene of them in the Zeppelin.
In a Zeppelin.
The Zeppelin. And he throws a guy out the window and motions with his thumb saying, "No ticket," which is the exact delivery that Kevin Smith makes in Dogma when he throws Matt Damon and Ben Affleck off of a train.
Yes, Silent Bob just yeets them off the moving train, and then when people are staring, he goes, "No ticket."
Yeah, he kind of looks around and is like, "No ticket," when people are kind of curious why he does this.
Which I'm just gonna say, we have now mentioned a Kevin Smith property twice.
Yeah.
Where he has mentioned Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So this man is clearly a fan of this series. So Kevin Smith, if you're listening, we would love to talk to you at length about your love of Indiana Jones.
Sure, that'll happen.
But yes, I would say that as a kid, I watched this one more than the rest just because it's such an easy watch. It's so goofy and it's literally hitting you over the head sometimes. Like the beginning is a introduction, a prologue.
Yeah.
Telling you this is young Indiana Jones played by River Phoenix and this is how he got these things in his life.
I would say this movie is by far most appropriate for kids because number one, it starts off as Indiana Jones as a kid, and in the later parts of the movie, he's with his dad. You know how you have a dad when you're a kid?
What?
Yeah, that's my point. It is him being, I don't know what the word is, but he's hanging around with his dad and saying, "Yes, sir."
It becomes a buddy movie.
Kinda.
In a way that the other
It's a
ones
weird
haven't
father-son. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, in the last one we had Short Round, where Short Round kind of looks up to Indy.
Yeah.
But they're sort of on an even playing field. And in this one, Indiana Jones kind of reverts to this, like, I don't have a good relationship with my father because he was so distant, and I call him sir.
Right, and there's some connection here between them because they both went into the same kind of work.
Yes,
But,
they're exactly the same in what they do for a living.
Yeah,
it is a passion.
But how they get there is very, very different.
Well, and everything he is doing, like once he picks his dad up, he's like trying to impress him, and he's just not impressed by anything he does.
Right, he is not impressed by his antics. Like when they're on the bike and running away from the Nazis, he is like doing all these tricks and like tripping up all the other bikes that are chasing after him, and he's smiling, which is his famous thing from the first movie, and looking over at his dad saying, kind of elbowing him. Say, "Well, look what I did, Dad, look what I did." And he's just arms folded.
Or winding his watch, like
Right.
checking the time.
You got somewhere to be.
So yeah, let's just go ahead and kind of go through some things about this. So obviously, like I said, this starts in 1912 in Utah. And this is the first time that we have seen Indiana Jones as a teenager. And he is played by River Phoenix. So this is, I would say, right as River Phoenix is getting really, really famous. This is kind of that almost peak, not quite. And so in this introduction, he's a Boy Scout of some, or a scout of some kind.
Of scout, yeah.
And he happens upon a looter, a archaeologist, I don't know, a gang of guys digging in the mountain, and they find the Cross of Coronado, and he becomes obsessed with this thing, saying, that doesn't belong to them, it belongs in a museum.
It belongs in a museum. I know that line is repeated ad nauseum in a lot of different other media.
Yeah.
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I will say it is all over video games, and I'm sure it's in other movies.
I think maybe the next time we do this, we could play the Indiana Jones drinking game, which I guarantee you exists. And in this one in particular, it belongs in a museum, something about snakes, and every time his dad calls him Junior.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's introduced, and he has this major chase scene where all of the other scouts are lost. The bad guys are chasing him.
Yeah,
He
there's a guy who is like leading this troop of scouts, and Indiana and his friend go off on their own, and then he's just by himself the rest of this time. What?
Well,
how is that a thing?
Because the scout leader said, don't wander too far. Some of these caves go for miles. And when he emerges, he says, everybody's lost except for me.
Did they actually all go in there? I didn't
They
even see.
all went in there. They were all exploring the beautiful deserts in Utah.
All right. They were very beautiful. But you said the name of this cross. What is this thing? Do you know?
No, it's just a fucking relic they made up for the sake of this.
Okay. I thought with all of the other religious iconography in here, I thought it was going to be a thing.
It could be. I kind of doubt it, because the thing at the beginning of Raiders wasn't a real, like, his idol that he goes and gets chased by a giant boulder for.
Sure, but
that's not real.
But the other two main things are.
Yes, but I'm going to go with not real.
Fine.
That's in all three of these, the thing at the beginning is fake, but then the main item usually is real.
The main MacGuffin.
Except for Temple of Doom, where it's just magic rocks.
Yeah.
But they have this big chase scene on a train, and it's a
circus
train.
Yeah, filled with animals.
Yes.
And antics ensue.
Yes. So at the beginning of the movie, he has no problem grabbing a snake and taking it off his friend, and he says, it's just a snake.
Right.
But then we learn about how he got his phobia because he lands in a big, like, I don't know what you call it.
It's a pile.
A pile of snakes where he's covered. There's a python, and there's a lot of screaming. And suddenly now he is afraid of snakes. So we get that origin.
Which is not good enough for me. I understand people having issues with snakes and bugs and whatever else. I had a hard time with some of these movies, especially the last one, the Temple of Doom one, where there's like fucking bugs everywhere, and in this one there's rats everywhere. I don't normally have a problem with such things, but when there's a ton of them, I have a problem.
Oh yes, we're getting to the rats.
But I don't feel like that is enough to have you develop an actual phobia.
A lifetime fear of snakes.
That's not enough.
So he's not really afraid of snakes. I feel like he just really doesn't like them because
one bad memory. Come on,
He has
Indy.
one really bad memory. But we also, while he's on the train, he falls in with the lion, and there's a whip because lion tamers have a whip.
And the first time he uses it, he smacks himself in the face.
So do you understand why that particular scene happens? Why he smacks himself with the whip?
No.
If you haven't ever noticed this, Harrison Ford has a very distinct scar on his chin that he has had since the 60s or something.
Yeah,
it is just
since he was very young.
Yes, that is a part of his face. So they figured out a way to, well, River Phoenix doesn't have the scar.
No.
How would Indiana Jones get the scar? And they give it a backstory. So he cuts his face open and he has a scar the rest of the movie.
I don't like that.
It's such a stretch. It's just
I
like
don't
a
like
choice.
That. Oh, man. I wish you wouldn't tell me that.
I have to. That is what this podcast is for. Me ruining things for you.
Okay, thanks.
Or enlightening you. It's both, Trent. We also, at the end of it, he runs home and the, quote, bad guys end up getting the cross.
Yeah.
And the leader of the gang says, "You got heart, kid," and he gives him his hat. And then it's like a transition to him as older. So you get how he got the scar, the snake thing, the whip, and the hat all in like 8 minutes.
Yeah, and it's young Indy looking up to this guy who paid him a kindness by giving him the hat and say, you know what, you got spunk, kid.
Yeah, you young whippersnapper.
That kind of a thing. Hey, look me up later when you're older and we can have an adventure together. That kind of a thing.
Right. Well, and of course, there is an extended universe outside of the movies, and they just actually put this on Disney Plus. It's the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. So after this movie, they were like, I'm intrigued by the concept of a young Indiana Jones. Yeah. And they made an entire TV series featuring him. I think the youngest one, he's like 9 years old, 8 or 9, in Egypt or somewhere. So like his parents have like taken him around the world globetrotting. And then a lot of stuff when he's a teenager and his early 20s. And I don't know how many there are. I don't think it was on for a super long time, but there is an extended universe that was inspired just by this opening sequence.
I don't feel like that is an accident. I feel like that is 100% planned, because if you didn't have another script for a fourth movie, how else are you going to milk this franchise other than making something else? A TV show, a spinoff, something.
Well, and I remember it being really fun. I haven't revisited it.
Because you've seen the Young Indiana Jones other thing, right?
The TV show?
Yeah.
I've
seen... the Chronicles? There's another one, right?
No, it's all one thing. It's just kind of standalone movies. It's like movie-length episodes.
Okay.
So there's maybe... in the double digits, I would say between 15 and 20 of these things.
Okay.
Maybe not quite that many. It was on for 2 or 3 years.
But in the same kind of style as like the serials.
Yeah, so every episode is like a new adventure. Yeah. It's like Indiana Jones
Right.
And there's a story.
Huh.
So they just sort of expanded it. And the only person I know of consequence off the top of my head who was in one is Catherine Zeta-Jones. She was in one in like 1992. Go figure.
Okay.
Yeah. I really can't tell you much more about them because I have not seen them in 30 years. I've watched one when I was in college and I fell asleep because I was watching it late at night.
How did she get a hold of that?
One of my friends who I was visiting had it on VHS, I think.
Oh, God. Say, hey, I remember this when I was a kid.
Yeah. So this little opening sequence did kind of crack open more of this universe.
Yeah, it borned another vision of this character.
Yes. And then one other thing from that intro is the dog. You see when he's running in to talk to his dad, there's a dog there. And at the very end of the movie, we find out that Indiana is the name of the dog.
And he says that he really liked that dog and he took its name as a nickname.
Yes. Oh. So this whole time, Indiana Jones has been calling himself the name of his dog. This is because George Lucas's dog was named Indiana. George Lucas's dog not only inspired Indiana Jones, but he inspired Chewbacca.
I just have to have a moment here.
You're right what you know, Trent.
Betsy, twice during the course of watching this movie, I called moments that were about to happen. And I just had to curse at the heavens saying, God damn you, George Lucas, I'm writing your goddamn movie for you.
He didn't write this one. Someone else wrote this. He just came up with the story, which means he leaves a lot of creative freedom for people to write it. But you're right. You can kind of predict this one. I think you did that 4 times.
Okay, I underestimated.
Because at the beginning of the movie, when they show him teaching again, he's talking to the class about what archaeology really is.
Yeah.
And he says, an X never ever marks the spot. And then they get to Italy, and you're screaming, X marks the spot!
Betsy, I was not referencing that moment from the class. I was just saying, it's 10, it's X, it's gotta be some kind of X somewhere.
Oh,
X
you
marks
missed
the spot.
it.
Yeah, that was completely separate from that.
And then you were screaming, haha, it's the X. And then Harrison Ford goes, X marks the spot.
Yeah. Fuck.
But it's fun. And that's the kind of thing you do for kids.
It does,
Kids
yes.
would get that. Kids understand X marks the spot.
Right. There were like multiple instances in this movie where it is extremely cartoonish. When he's on the boat at the very beginning of the movie and he Tarzans off of it into the water and the boat explodes
And sinks.
right in front of him. The bad guy, the Coronado guy, his hat, his very iconic hat, is floating by. That's something directly out of an old cartoon.
Yes, it is.
When the bad guy dies, there's their one little thing about them that is floating in the water.
Oh, yeah. And there's all kinds of nods to Raiders of the Lost Ark also within this movie. There's nods to Star Wars in this movie. Like I had to point out to you when we first meet the bad guy that we don't know yet is a bad guy, Donovan.
Yes.
He's hosting a big party with his wife, who I just read is played by his real wife.
Really low budget movie, this one.
But she says your guests are feeling neglected, and in the background, if you're listening, you can hear the piano playing the Imperial March because
that right there should have been a clue. These are bad guys.
Well, and also Julian Glover, who plays Donovan, was in Star Wars.
He was.
Was he in the original one?
I don't know.
You would recognize him.
No.
You've seen Star Wars a lot more than I have.
I have. I don't recognize him, but you also said he is the original Grand Maester in the Game of Thrones series, much, much older.
Yes.
And I said I
Pycelle.
could not even recognize his face or his voice.
Well, again, 30 plus years later.
Still, there would be something I could recognize, but not this, I guess.
In this movie, he's like, "Hello, Dr. Jones." And on that show, he's like, "I'm Grumble Crumble."
It's also acting.
Some of that, yes. He's supposed to be 1,000,000 years old on Game of Thrones.
Fine.
Anyway, speaking of, well, not much older, in this movie, his father is played by Sean Connery.
Yep.
Infamously, Sean Connery is only 12 years older than Harrison Ford.
Okay.
So this was the running joke because they were like, how did that happen? How, in what world is 12-year-old Sean Connery your father? And they had so much fun just making fun of that concept. And they had to go out of their way to make him appear older in this movie and do what they can to make, in this one, 47-year-old Harrison Ford look as young as possible. So, like, he's really clean shaven.
Yep.
Most of this movie. He doesn't really get a whole lot of stubble.
He looks identical to when he did Raiders back in 81. I mean, granted, it's only 8 years, but still. Something is going to happen between the time when you're in your 30s and later 40s.
Yes, so you've got him who's 47. You've got Sean Connery. So in this, I think this might have been the first time I saw Sean Connery without the toupee. Because he doesn't have hair. He's not really had hair since like the 50s or the 60s.
Yeah.
And even as James Bond, he wore a toupee. So to see him in this movie without the toupee is kind of a rarity for the 80s.
It just ages people. It just does.
It was that, and they, like, I think touched up his beard to make it look way whiter.
Gray him up, yeah.
But just kind of a funny thing, the fact that there's not that big an age difference between these two. I feel like they do that a lot in movies where the parent, quote unquote, is not that much older. They did it in, the one I can think of is Forrest Gump, where 2 years before they made Forrest Gump, Sally Field and Tom Hanks did a movie where they were love interests.
Oh, no.
And then they played mother and son, and I think they're only a few years apart in age. It's not that big an age difference between
makeup
them.
can do a lot.
Yes. And then you kind of get the returning players in this one. You've got John Rhys Davies is back, Denholm Elliott is back, and then you've also got a new leading lady. I've never seen this actress in anything else. Alison Doty is her name. She was 21 years old when she was cast in this movie. When this movie came out, she was 22.
Wow. She does not look 22.
No, I think part of that is also the era appropriateness, like putting people, we've talked about this before, how high schoolers in the 60s, they look about 400 years old. It's something about dressing them for the part. Like,
Sure.
It just ages you up a little bit. And she's got the very stylish hair in this movie. She is, pencil skirts galore.
Yeah, and like the red lipstick. Like,
Yeah.
young people don't wear red lipstick like that.
No. But yeah, she does not look 22.
No.
Yeah, these are things I never noticed or cared about when I was a kid. It's just interesting to hear about them now. All right. Well, you had touched on it when we came back from the break, how this is sort of a return to the roots. There's definitely a lot more similarities between this one and Raiders than there were having anything to do with Temple of Doom.
Yeah, and like Temple of Doom, like we said in that one, it is very much a side story. It gives you maybe just a little nugget or two of the origins of Indy, but not nearly as much as this one does, which is what you would normally naturally do with a sequel that just pushes the timeline forward.
Yeah, and maybe it has something to do with the hopping back and forth in the timeline. Maybe it has something to do with, what we talked about in Temple of Doom. It was just, they wanted it to be darker, but they went maybe a little too dark.
Yeah.
And if you look at the three next to each other, this is 8 years. It's not like this was an expansive amount of time to make these movies.
And I had no idea that these 3 movies all came out in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 81 to 89. This was the decade.
Yeah.
That's it. But we start with Raiders, which is, like I said, the best of the 3. Then you get this really dark one. Then you get this really silly one.
Yeah.
But stylistically, this one has the most in common with Raiders. So there's a lot of light and shadow. Like there's the scene when they're in the castle where the Nazis holding Elsa and she's like, "Oh, help me, Indy, please."
Right, and there's
it's just shadows.
These fucking shadows, like a fucking Dick Tracy thing of the silhouette of Indy on the wall.
Yeah, that is something they did in the first one, and they didn't do that at all in Temple of Doom.
No, Temple of Doom is an action movie. I think way more than any of the other ones that we've seen.
I mean, I guess if you want to call it like a true action movie where you take out the fun and the silliness.
There's a lot more like peril in the second one.
Yes, the stakes are much higher.
Yeah.
Like somebody gonna die.
Yeah, like a lot of people die in 2.
A lot of people die just in general, but again in this one...
Betsy, Nazis aren't people.
Oh. Okay, fair enough. That's a valid point. But structurally, it's fairly similar. It's easy to follow as the first one.
Yeah.
Where there's like an opening sequence, then we get him older and he's on an adventure. Unlike the first one, he actually accomplishes his goal and he gets his hands on it.
He's already on his adventure. You don't need a big lead up and somebody giving him the task. He's been after this artifact for his entire life. He says it himself.
So he accomplishes that, which he didn't do in the first movie. In the first movie, he goes back empty-handed and he's like, I had it in my hand. And in this one, he's like, I got it. He's so excited. And then we quickly transition to these random suited men pick him up and say, your father was helping us with this project and he's missing. Now they don't get to it right away. They say our project leader.
Right. We've had this guy employed for us doing this thing, but we're bringing you in because we've hit a brick wall because he got kidnapped.
And he tells him this story about the Holy Grail and Grail lore.
Right.
And Indiana Jones just tells him, you got the wrong Jones. You should talk to my father. Well, plot twist.
Right.
We did. We went to him first and he's gone missing.
But yeah, the crux of him going there in the first place, what his dad was doing, is that there's this... He gives an entire backstory of the Holy Grail, which, by the way, I was right. Cup of life. They even say the fucking phrase.
The phrase.
I was right. Anyway. But they have a version of this tablet that kind of gives some instruction, and it's just kind of convoluted and very convenient that he kind of has all the pieces already. He just needs to see it from a different perspective. Like, his father is very much a bookworm. He is going to do his research. He is going to, be the Indiana Jones that's a professor, not the guy who's wearing a fancy fedora and like knocking holes in the basement of a church
and punching Nazis.
Library and punching Nazis. You know, fighting on top of a tank.
Yeah, he even says he's not a field guy. He's a bookworm.
Exactly. So he wouldn't think to knock a hole in the floor of this library. He had all the other pieces.
You mean he wouldn't think to vandalize the archaeological site, the historical site?
Historical sites. Yeah, he would be down there with his fucking chisels and brushes to try to get through all that.
Yep, documenting and figuring it out.
He would take out every single rat individually, put them over here in a case, and then put them back when he's done.
Of course. And of course, when we get to what's happening, his dad has sent him the Grail diary. So he's got this little book where he has put all his notes. It's his life's work in this little document. And Indy signs up to help. He goes to Venice, not to help with the project, but to find his dad. But to find his dad, he has to help with the project, basically. It's
finding his dad will help the project.
Exactly. And then he can go home and take a nap or something.
But first, that's where the not 21-year-old lady comes in. So yeah, that immediately, number one, her accent was like very of Germanic origin.
She's Austrian, Trent. She's Dr. Schneider.
Right.
And it's 1938, so we don't have to quite worry about her yet, but we should have been suspicious maybe.
Yeah. So that was very suspicious to begin with. She is like, hey, you're Dr. Jones. I know you from your eyes.
I know your face. You have your father's eyes.
Sure, that really helps.
And they just get right to flirting because that's what you do.
That's what Indiana Jones does. And then by the end of this entire encounter, they're having sex together. Okay, so we're turning Indiana Jones into James Bond?
Okay, Trent, he has done this in literally every movie.
I know.
In every movie. Now, to be fair, in the second one, those two didn't actually have sex.
Nope.
Because
but they were flirting a whole lot.
They were ready to, and then they found a secret tunnel, and he went and explored that instead.
Instead of exploring a different tunnel. Heyo!
Heyo!
Anyway.
But yes, they get to Italy, and this building is a real place in Venice.
I'm sure.
I know this because after the big action scene where they're underground and things are on fire and they crawl up through a sewer, he's soaking wet and he crawls out and he goes, Venice. My brother went to Venice on a trip once, and I got a random text message from him of that building, and he just said, Venice.
But before they even get in there, they have to figure out this puzzle. And of course they have the book from his dad, and they're looking at this stained glass window, and it's just very convenient. And I didn't care for this scene of them just being geniuses and figuring out his chicken scratch.
As a kid, I fucking loved this, but I think it's because I can understand X marks the spot.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that I think just did the research in advance, because we just get a whole lot of exposition at different sequences. Like when he meets Donovan tells him this whole big story. And then when he's talking about his dad, well, dad's been doing this for 40 years.
Right. The search has already been done for the most part.
Yeah. All I need is a little piece of paper and I can figure it out from there because I know the extra pieces of the puzzle that are missing. Yeah. We're looking for a tomb. We're looking for the other half of this marker.
The tablet.
Yeah, the little tablet. I've got this wax paper and a crayon, and I'm ready to take the imprint because there ain't no cell phones, Trent. You were like, just take out your cell phone.
I said once he gets on top of the coffin, just take out your cell phone and take a picture. You don't need to do an imprint.
No. I also loved how you were screaming, there sure is a lot of light
coming
off that cigarette lighter.
In this cave, there's a whole lot of light in here.
You know the thing that genuinely bothers me the most about this sequence? And this is something I didn't notice when I was a kid, but noticed as I got older. When they bust down the wall, he says, there's petroleum down here. I should sink a well and retire.
Yep.
He lights a thing. He takes a bone, he takes some paper, like some cloth, and he
some ratty
soaks it.
stuff.
Yeah, that fucking thing is dripping.
Yep.
And it is
and
dropping.
So is he. Like his hand was all the way down in that.
Yes, and it is dropping little bits of fire throughout the scene. Mm-hmm. And if this were real, they would have lit themselves on fire. And it drives me crazy as an adult.
As soon as he lit that lighter, or whoever lit the lighter, the whole thing would have went up because of the fumes. It's not just the liquid, it's the fumes.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Trent,
it would have been a lot worse.
The more you're telling me, the less I can unknow this information. And it's just going to bother me that much more. Because, he comes in, he's like, it's petroleum.
It's like, Jesus, get the fuck out of there, man.
You'd be so lightheaded. And not to mention, all the rats would probably be dead.
Right.
So yes, they bust open...
they're dead now after they all go up in flames.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you even... This is another thing. This is clearly meant for children. He goes, rats.
Rats.
And they pan down, and it's just thousands of rats.
Yeah.
And one of the things I read, they had to breed these rats. 2,000 rats before production. Because there's a lot of, like, diseases and things that can spread incredibly quickly.
And if one of them, happens to bite one of your lead actors?
Yeah. So the only way they can control that environment is to breed them in advance. So some rat man...
They're not fake rats.
Some rat man had to do this. Like, think about pre-production. All right, we're going to need this, we're going to need this, we're going to need 2,000 rats.
What's this thing from the accountant? What's this thing about 2,000 rats? Does this mean something else? Are you sure? Okay. I thought it was actually meant to say cats. 2,000 cats.
That would have been a very different sequence. They'd all just be sitting there, screaming at you as you're trying to walk around them and freaking out because there's a lot of water. This is Venice.
Well, with 2,000 rats, you got to get 2,000 cats to get rid of the rats, Betsy. It's just math.
Is that how they cleared up the set afterwards?
That's
really terrible.
Of course.
Why would you do that? Why?
To who? To the cats?
Yes, and the rats. I don't even like rats.
All right. Before we move on from this sequence, I have a movie-making gripe.
Okay.
So as the three of them are approaching the library, the temple outside, they're having a conversation about the library itself. Oh, it used to be a church. Oh, look at this. And they're having this conversation as they are approaching from the outside.
They're like 50 feet away from the church.
Then it cuts to the inside of the church, and the conversation they're having picks up exactly where it left off, 50 feet out the door.
As though she ignored his statement.
There was one statement made.
For minutes.
You kept walking inside and got all the way to the back of the church, and you continued the conversation.
Yes, she said nothing to him on the walk.
God damn it. God damn it. You check in with the guy at the front who is stamping the books, who looks like Frank Zappa, for fuck's sake. And you get all the way to the back and you don't say another word. And you continue the conversation. You continue the conversation right where you left off outside.
Trent, that is how we have conversations. Let's be real. If I'm talking to you somewhere and we have to go inside or we don't want someone else to hear us, we'll stop, and then we'll pick up the conversation again.
But Betsy, we have been together for, what, almost 12 years now?
400 years
12 years we've been together now. These people met 20 minutes ago.
This is true. You and I can hear a word in a room where we are not next to each other and make eye contact and know what the other one is thinking.
I can count on... I don't know how many hands I have here, but I can count a lot of times where we would do that. We would just look at each other, or she says something and I just pound my fist on something saying, I was just about to say that thing.
The time we were in the Old Navy and we both looked at each other and said Boba Fett.
Something in the air. Something in the air, or somebody said something that kind of sounded like what Harrison Ford says in episode 6 when he's still like getting his eyesight back and he's like looking around even though he can't see, saying, Boba Fett! Boba Fett! somebody said something like that. And for forever since then, we have said that to each other.
In cadence, unprompted, at exactly the same time in exactly the same way.
Fuck. Anyway, that's a little window into our life.
Yeah, we're those people.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. But if you've been listening to this podcast, then you've probably figured that out.
It's true, but we're talking about The Last Crusade.
Yeah. That's what we're doing here. So they complete that mission. Then we get a big boat chase, because you can't go to Venice without boats.
Yeah, but it's not even like they were driving the boats through Venice.
They really weren't.
Very much on the outside of Venice.
It's like, we're kind of on East Venice. Is that a thing?
South side of Venice, sure.
South side of Venice.
But I really liked this boat chase. I can't really put my finger on it, but it looked really good. It looked, believable. They were really driving those boats, and they were really on those boats.
The danger seemed real. There was humor thrown in. And it didn't go on for too long.
Yeah. And I think the scene of it was Harrison Ford on the front of the boat, and he's trying to intimidate one of the guys, which we haven't even mentioned the fact that there's this fucking secret society that has existed for 2,000 years or whatever.
Yeah, they protect the Grail.
Sure. But there's this guy on the boat where he's beating up, he's threatening to kill him with the goddamn propeller of the big boat right behind him.
Chopping up the boat.
As the propeller is going, it is eating away at the boat one cycle after another. And that looked pretty damn cool.
Well, and so many of these stunts in this movie, Harrison Ford did himself. Like, he had a little bit of a reputation in this film because the stuntman was like, can I do something, please? You're paying me to be here.
Well, didn't he fucking break his leg during the next movie we're gonna watch?
I can't remember if it was during that or Star Wars. I think it might have been this one. Now that you're saying that.
Either way, I know he broke his leg fairly recently.
Yes.
Making one of these movies.
In a more modern Harrison Ford outing.
Right.
He definitely broke a leg.
Dude, you are an old fucking man. You shouldn't be doing this shit.
Well, and you can understand why he might think he can, because at 47, he's still on the boat that's being chopped up, and you can see that's him standing there. Yeah. That is his face. You couldn't fake that shit. Like, anytime we watch these movies now, and they're in 4K, like the scene when he's escaping the castle and he's got the little sidecar with his dad in it. Yeah. That wasn't Sean Connery. I can look at some of those scenes and go, that man's face is far rounder and that hat is pulled really far down over his head.
Why do you think they give him hats?
But in other scenes, you can completely see, well, that's definitely Harrison Ford.
Sure.
Like when he's hanging off a tank, that's Harrison Ford. When the horse is getting up off the ground with him on it, that is Harrison Ford.
That was awesome.
So you do this when you're pushing 50, you get it in your head that I maybe could do this when I'm 75.
You've done the 2 other Indiana Jones movies. You've done, I guess, 3 Star Wars movies up to this point.
No, he didn't really have to do too strenuous a job in the Star Wars trilogy. Let's be real. These are much more difficult stunts that he had to do in Indiana Jones. But in any case, I digress. So they have this chase and they get more information. Okay, your dad's being held on the German-Austrian border. And you have to now drive a car and go get him.
Right.
A castle in Austria.
Right, so they get to this castle and it is the weirdest choice for them to get into this castle. Betsy, why don't you just explain it to the listeners?
Well, they're trying to get in, and he asks Elsa, what do you know about this? And what she says is, well, the people who own the castle are big art collectors. So they like swap clothes. She gives him her beret and like trench coat, and she puts on his fedora and leather jacket.
Yeah.
And he is putting on this ridiculous over-the-top Scottish accent, and he says, we are here to view the tapestries.
I don't know what accent that was.
I don't even know. It's so bad.
But you know what? It makes sense because he is Sean Connery's son.
It's true. He's heard it enough times he can at least pretend.
I wonder if that was all planned.
Maybe, or it's just what
Or
dumb accent
maybe
can you
Harrison
do?
Ford can do a really good Scottish accent.
Okay, the thing I will tell you about this sequence, I'm just going to talk about me for a minute. I have a friend from high school. We met at a summer camp situation, and we were paired together as roommates. And we had never met before this, even though we had been at the camp at the same time the year before. And the first night, or the second night, we were just laying in bed, not sleeping, talking, getting to know each other. And somehow or another, we got to the line, "This is a castle, and we have many tapestries." And she finished the line. She says, "If you are Scottish Lord, then I am Mickey Mouse." And we have been friends for 25 years.
All right.
Okay, but this conversation, this one moment is burned into my brain. This specific line of dialogue from this movie bonded us forever.
I mean, I know I've heard the line, we've got many tapestries or whatever the fuck.
Because I'm probably
It's
said it around the
probably
house.
It's probably you.
This is a castle. And of course, it's not just a castle, Trent. It's a secret Nazi base.
Nazis. I hate those guys.
Yeah, they're just there, and they're on their radio, and they've got a map room, and they're like, talking in code and shit. I don't really know. They don't really get into exactly
Typical
what's happening.
evil lair shit.
Yeah, there's an evil lair. There's a heroic rescue. He uses his whip and busts in through the window to get his dad. He busts a vase over his head, and they have like a weird moment where he's very concerned that he just broke a priceless Ming vase. No.
Yeah, they escape from that whole thing. Indy shoots a bunch of Nazis, and his father is very surprised. "I can't believe you just did all that. What are you doing? You just shot these guys. They're Nazis. It's fine."
We also find out that both he and his father have slept with the same woman.
That was weird. They're Eskimo brothers. I did not know that was going to be a thing in this movie, but okay.
How did you know she was a Nazi? She talks in her sleep.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to tell you, as a kid, I did not understand that.
Nope.
Because I just figured, well, yeah, they're working together and they have an apartment. They must sleep in the same room or next to each other. Like, my little brain, my innocent little mind couldn't comprehend why it was he knew that information.
Yeah, so it is the big revelation that she's also a Nazi, and there's Nazis everywhere. And, I did recognize the main Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
From one thing. He is in the Ben Affleck Sum of All Fears movie, where he is actually playing a Russian ambassador, he's a Russian dude. And this is the only other thing I've seen that guy in.
And I didn't recognize him from that, but I've only seen
it once or twice, yeah. But of course, this is where the two of them get tied up and they're on the chairs. And there's this hilarious scene of the room that they're in is covered in tapestries and rugs and wooden stuff. Everything goes up in flames.
It's very flammable, all of this stuff.
Yet again, another thing that I pointed out. Oh yeah, he's going to drop the lighter and everything is going to go up in flames. And that's what happened.
Yep.
God damn it. But yeah, this scene was really funny because, of course, they hop all the way over to the fireplace, the one place there isn't any fire, and they find this secret lever that makes them turn around like a fucking Scooby-Doo cartoon.
It's an access to the Nazi room.
Of course, it's the Nazi lair.
Yeah, and they have like a funny moment where the Nazi woman sees them and they smile at each other and then she screams and they go after them.
Yes.
But by this point, they're free.
Yeah, it's this weird slapstick thing where they're kind of going all around.
It's just these silly little things like this. Then when they have the chase, he's shoving poles into the wheel wells of the motorcycles.
Yeah.
Then there's an airplane chase later on in the movie. There's
after they steal the plane off of the Zeppelin.
Yeah, they immediately in German airspace get chased by two planes. We don't know where the fuck they came from. It doesn't matter. And he makes the comment, I didn't know you could fly a plane. Fly, yes. Land, no.
Right.
But when they get to the ground and they're in the car, one of the planes crashes and is going past them in flames, and they both like look at each other
through the tunnel.
The pilot is looking at them as he is going past them. It's such a stupid, silly moment, and then he explodes. Like, it's always followed by something pretty dark.
Sure.
But it's just silly until you get there.
Yeah. And they, of course, Spielberg has his North by Northwest moment.
Yeah.
Of the plane chasing after the vehicle. And one of the best bits, I think, here at the end of this whole sequence is Sean Connery taking out his umbrella and going, rat, 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 rat. Trying to get all the birds to go up, which doesn't make any logical sense that the birds would actually cause a plane like that to go down that far away from it. It doesn't make sense. I don't care. It's a funny moment.
I don't know how it wouldn't make sense. Birds take planes out all the time.
That plane is that far away, and these birds are right next to them.
But it's going so fast, and it catches up very quickly.
Birds are not that fast.
He times it so perfectly because there's so many birds.
God damn it. All right, whatever.
So yeah, that's just this whole sequence of, we have to go get my dad. Then we have an action sequence. And then they have to go get the book. So they go to Berlin.
Yeah.
And Adolf Hitler's there.
During a book burning ceremony.
That's what they did in Berlin in 1938.
It's what they're doing now. Whoops.
Yeah. If you ever have a chance to go to Berlin, I actually went there after college. And they have a memorial in one of the squares to all of the burned books.
Really?
Yeah, it's an interesting concept because our tour guide was just walking and he's like, you're standing on top of an important piece of history and you don't even look down. You're standing over a clear pane of glass and it drops down like 50 feet and there's like hundreds and thousands of books lining the walls. And I think they're all just like symbolic books. I don't think they're actual books that were burned. But yeah, it's in memory of all of that knowledge that was lost in this place. And It's really cool because if you're just walking, you would miss it completely. But if you look down, it's like, holy crap, there's like a big hole in the floor.
Right.
But yeah, it's really worth it. So if you're ever in Berlin, definitely check it out. But yeah, they go to rescue the book and Adolf Hitler signs it for him.
Yeah. No, I don't really know how I feel about that whole thing.
Yeah, contextually in 1989, it's just a weird thing. Like we're 40 some years removed from World War II.
We're far enough away where it's still kind of quaint to play dress up as, Nazis and whatever. But in this context where he is face to face with Hitler, knowing what we know, I think
it's weird that it's a funny scene. Why is that a funny scene?
I don't think there should ever be a funny scene with Hitler.
No, unless it's producers.
Unless it is supposed to be like that.
It's the producers.
Or it's Jojo Rabbit.
There you go.
Or in that case, he's an imaginary Hitler.
Yes. Okay, another quick fun fact about this that I just learned today.
Please don't say fun fact after we talked about Hitler.
Okay, maybe it's not fun as so much as interesting. The Nazi uniforms in this movie, in that sequence, are real. The costume designer somehow found a place that had a cache of Nazi uniforms, and they acquired them for this movie.
They didn't get everything from Hugo Boss, did they? I hope not.
No, I don't know how they did it. They found a cache of uniforms, which, you were still finding stuff like that 40 years later, just in a room somewhere.
Sure.
Go figure. And then once they get the book, then we have to go to our next location. And that's just kind of the series here. We get into one place, we get out of one place.
Yeah.
They're in Berlin, they get on a Zeppelin, they get away,
Sure.
the planes explode.
And then we have this giant convoy, including trucks and camels and horses and tanks. Why the fuck would have needed tanks, Betsy?
For the action sequence, Trent. For the action sequence. I mean, they're going through rough terrain. I guess it sort of makes sense.
Doesn't make any sense to me, but okay.
They're supposedly in Egypt, I think, at this point in the movie. They're a little vague about that.
I have no idea where they are. But yeah, we have this entire convoy of people, and then essentially, this is Stagecoach. This is these guys who are trying to take over this stagecoach. That's how I felt this was.
I've never seen Stagecoach, so I have no
have
opinion
I,
about
but I
this.
know what it is.
Okay.
An entire wagon train of vehicles, and you go up there and you're trying to rob it, and in this case, you're trying to save your father and the curator guy.
You're trying to rob it of Marcus
people,
Brody.
Of people. Yeah. But yeah, there's this whole big action sequence. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but I think it was a good escalation of the other action sequences that they have done in the other two movies. So you got all these extra vehicles, you got Indy riding on a fucking tank, and he's sabotaging the guns outside, and it's a good sequence.
I love that when he's hanging off of the tank and his bag gets stuck, it makes no fucking sense. Because how did that handle of his bag get out and around the gun to be able to have him hang on it?
Yeah.
Also, is it my imagination, or could he just let go and he would be free of this situation?
I was reminded.
I know how bags work.
I was reminded of a little movie called Star Wars Episode 1. Mm-hmm. And it was just while we were watching that whole sequence of him hanging off the tank barrel. There's a sequence where there's the big battle near the end of the movie with Jar Jar and all of the Gungans going against the robot army, and Jar Jar is hanging off of one of the barrels of one of the tanks from the robots, and you can see the entire battlefield of everything going on. That was one of the big money shots that Lucas was putting out there.
I mean, it's very possible he stole that.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't he?
Now, you're not seeing the entire battle. There's no battlefield here. But
no.
Yeah, the hero is hanging from the thing. And yeah, I don't know.
Might not be a coincidence.
Just
saying.
thought. Just a thought.
But they finally get to their destination. And this place is real. This big facade that they find in the desert.
Yeah.
This is in Jordan. I don't know the name of this monument off the top of my head.
Well, I was just going to say,
but it is a real place.
This thing looks odd to me, because why would this thing that has been searched for thousands of years just be completely unobscured? That is just in a canyon somewhere.
It's in the canyon of the Crescent Moon, and you didn't know which city to start from, Trent. People aren't just going to wander the desert in hopes of finding the Holy Grail.
Fair point.
But yes, the facade of the building, that is a real building in Jordan. Everything inside is a set. If you couldn't figure it out, that's all a set.
What? They didn't actually find the Holy Grail?
They did not. When they got inside, they did not find a 700-year-old Knight of the Crusades.
Right.
Guarding several gold chalices. Don't know where those came from. Did he bring them with? Did he make them? Did he learn to forge gold? Is there gold here?
There's gold in their tombs.
There's a lot of unanswered questions as to how this came to pass.
Now, I would say the three challenges here were a little lazy.
They're made by an old man by himself in the middle of the desert.
Still,
this is the best he could come up with, Trent.
The first one is kneel. That's it. Just kneel.
Yep.
And he did do like a
somersault.
He did a combat roll there at the very end. And then it was...
Know your Latin alphabet.
Right. Know how Jehovah was spelled.
In Latin. Mm-hmm. And then don't fall.
Yeah.
I guess would be the...
You have to be really good at Magic Eye.
It's a magic... It's a Magic Eye walkway.
Yeah.
You just have to believe it's there and you'll see it.
Thank you, Spielberg, for giving me the extra, hey, this is how we did it, guys, by moving the camera to the side so the audience can see it. But then Indy actually doesn't see it that way.
Listen, in 1989, this looked pretty cool. I remember being a kid going, oh my God, he's walking on nothing, and it's such a good optical illusion. Now I look at it and it's fucking cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But anyway, he gets to the final thing. There's this old dude there, and he says, I'm going to battle you in single combat. Mm-hmm. And
you can vanquish me. I'm so old and tired.
He swings at him once, he falls down, and, you vanquished me.
Yep.
Now you get to choose. Choose!
But choose wisely.
Choose wisely.
That's the whole point. You got to choose wisely.
And then all of a sudden, the other two, I guess, figured out what to do? How did they get through?
Because they were right behind him. If you're looking, they are right behind him when he is about to do the Jehovah thing with the tiles,
Yeah.
they're like 6 feet behind him.
Yeah, he says that, but like there was no communication for the final thing.
Well, he threw the rocks. That's why he threw the rocks.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so they could see it, and they go, oh, there's something here we can walk on.
Okay. I forgot about that point.
Yes.
Anyway, so they get in.
But Nazis are bad, so this isn't going to end well for them.
It's true. So she chooses something for him, and I knew right away it wasn't going to be a gold goblet.
No! She's just like, let me choose.
I'm the historical Nazi.
I know what's up. You will take this one. And the only way to figure out if it's real is you gotta drink the water.
Yep.
So he does. What happens to Donovan, Trent?
He turns into a 1989 version of Claymation.
He sure does.
Holy shit, that was awesome. But you have to have some kind of weird, kind of scary thing for an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
Because you've had it in the other two.
So in the first one, you had face melting and heads exploding. In the second one, you had the guy going into the lava and, hearts being ripped out of living humans.
Yep.
And then in this one, he rapidly ages and rots and explodes.
Yeah, he turns to ash.
And it's cool, like at the beginning where he kind of convulses.
Yeah.
And you see his reflection when he comes up, he's just got makeup and it's making him look more gaunt and old.
And the camera is cutting back and forth between him and her. And every time it cuts back, he has progressed that much more.
Yep. And then it's this kind of stop motion animation sped up really, really fast as his hair grows like a fucking chia pet. And you just get her face watching this. And that would be fucking horrible. This guy is holding on to you as the life is sucked out of him.
It looked good.
It looked good.
I was impressed.
Yeah, it's cool. And if they did it now, it would look so fucking awful because they would CG the whole thing.
Of course.
It would all be fake and it would be stupid. At least here, I know it's fake and it looks amazing.
I would have rather it be like this, to be honest.
Honestly.
But yes, Indy says, well, that one looks like a carpenter's goblet, so I'm going to use that one.
Yep.
And of course, it's the one.
Because he's a smarty pants.
Yeah.
And he did his research. Kids, the moral of this story is read your books. Do your research.
Don't burn the books.
Don't burn the books.
Read the books.
Read the books. And you too could be like Indiana Jones.
Immortal? Question mark?
No, because the power of the Grail only goes as far as the Great Seal. They've put a boundary on immortality.
Okay.
So if you stay in this cavern or whatever you call it forever, you can live forever. But Elsa gets greedy. That greedy bitch crosses the seal and the whole fucking room starts to shake and fall apart. And I'm going to tell you, this like earthquake setup that they have where the whole set splits apart.
Yeah.
That's fucking impressive. Like, that's not easy to do, especially where it starts as a completed puzzle and then yoinks apart.
Well, and you also have a bunch of full-grown ass adults on top of it, weighing it down. So you need some really good equipment underneath to move all that stuff around.
Yep, and I don't know how big it is, but I would guess based on the fall, it's at least like 12 feet.
Sure.
Thick. Yeah, and everything in this movie I'm realizing on this watch is, I remember this feeling longer. Like each sequence being really long.
The scene of him, like of all of them in this temple, let's say, goes like, what, 10 minutes? 15 minutes?
From beginning to end, yeah.
It's not a big chunk of the movie, and that's the thing that they're trying to get. The cup of life, Betsy!
Yep, and the climax of the film is like 3 minutes. From the time she like crosses the seal to they leave and ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow. I remember this being so much longer when I was a kid. But yeah, all very silly, very over the top.
Yeah.
But a wonderful ride. And then we can't leave without, everybody says, what is this Junior? Why do you keep calling him Junior? And the big reveal at the end is he's named after his dad. And then they have a funny chuckle about it. And then Marcus Brody is the idiot in this movie. He's like, follow me, I know the way. He has no idea what he's doing, and he's falling off his horse. And we all had such a good time. Right into the sunset. We're done.
And of course, this is without saying, the Holy Grail is real. It allowed this one man in there to live for 700 years. The water cured my father's bullet wound.
Yes.
And we're just gonna brush that off like it's nothing.
Yeah, I asked you at the beginning.
What the fuck?
Trent, I asked you at the beginning of this series to consider the supernatural nature of what happened in the first one.
Yeah.
And the second one.
Yeah.
And the third one.
Yes.
Okay? It's kind of a through line, but I'm going to need you to hold on to that just a little bit longer.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So I'm going to tell one more really quick story before we move on because I thought of it in the middle of this. There's the sequence where they're flying the plane. He says, fly yes, land no.
Yes.
Very well-known fact, Harrison Ford can fly a plane.
He does it quite well.
Okay. I don't believe I've told this story before on the podcast, but you know what I'm going to tell.
I do, and I think you actually have but continue.
I'm going to tell it anyway.
We watched Air Force One, Betsy. It's on a plane.
It's been a hot minute. So if
More people will listen to this episode, so please indulge.
I'm telling you again. So for those of you who've heard this story before, I'm sorry, you get to hear it twice. When I was out of college, I worked at the airport for a while. And it wasn't the main hub of the airport. Our offices where we checked in and everything were at like the little private landing area. So like the private flights, the local guys, they all flew there, not the big airport with the big airplanes. One day I was working and we had a charter flight coming in and the team, it was a football team, got there early. So we had to vamoose out of our main office, go to the main airport. And we get a phone call. My boss, her phone rings and they're like, you're never going to believe who just walked in here. It was fucking Harrison Ford. He was flying from Los Angeles to God knows where on the East Coast. And he was refueling in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I don't fucking know why. That's what he did. I missed him by 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Because you had to go and do your job.
Because I had to go do my job. But it got worse because when he came back like 3 days later, he stopped again. So twice I missed him. Now, that time was like at 11 o'clock and there was maybe 2 people working at the facility at all.
Yeah.
But to this day, I'm like, you mean to tell me I was minutes away. I had been sitting in that lobby eating my lunch and there was only one door and that's the door he would have walked through. And I missed it. And of course, there's photographic evidence that he really was there. The people who were working when he came back through, he was hungry and there was a kitchen and they were like, well, the kitchen's closed, but you can use the kitchen, Mr. Ford, like anything for you. And they just like unlocked it, let him in the freezer, and he made a cheeseburger for himself. And there is this great picture. I have it. I should share that. It's fucking funny.
Yes, you should. You should find that photo and put it on the Twitter.
He is making a cheeseburger, looking surly as shit.
Well, he's looking surly because somebody's taking his photo without permission, I'm sure.
My guess is he posed for the photo because this is so specific. And
I don't know.
There was another picture taken and he looks much happier. So
all right, fine.
He was definitely aware they were taking a photo. But yeah, to this day, I will never, ever let that go. The minutes difference, how my life would have changed. Instead, I just have this fucking annoying story. All right, well, we need to wrap this thing up. Trent, did you have any other final thoughts about The Last Crusade or the original trilogy before we cut to our emails?
Oh, God. I'm sure this thing is going to be ruined for me, the next movie we watch in this series. So, I mean, I'm going to say I can see why the trilogy is held up in such high regard because these movies are fucking fun. They are very unique. Like, there's really nothing like it. I mean, we keep comparing it to a lot of other things.
There's a spirit to it
yeah,
that exists outside of this, but this property is really one of a kind.
It really is. So I'm really curious to jump to the future from 89 to whatever the year Crystal Skull came out. It was like 2010?
I will have to
Somewhere around
research
there.
that later.
Somewhere
forget.
around there. And I'm really curious to see what they do to the character, and like I'm sure they're going to reference the hell out of the original trilogy and whatever else, but we're going to talk about those later. But I really enjoyed myself. I'm glad that we're doing this. And again, this is an education for me. We're all about education on this show.
Yes, indeed. So yes, this is the halfway point. We are going to keep on keeping on to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That'll be next. However, for now, we would love to hear what your thoughts are on the original trilogy, or if you want to just jump right into Crystal Skull and tell us your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
We haven't recorded that yet. We aren't there yet. We would love to know how you feel, where that fits in this series. You can send us those thoughts, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. We do have a couple referencing our last movie that we watched, Temple of Doom. So one is just a comment, one is a full-fledged email, so bear with us here. The comment is from Blake. He says, one of the greatest, quote, I'm gonna put my suffering and personal issues on screen, end quote, movies ever made.
And we heavily referenced the fact that the two men who were most responsible for this trilogy were going through divorces.
Yeah, they went dark in a way that was maybe too dark.
Yep.
Listen to that episode if you want to hear the full specifics.
Yep.
We also got an email from Seth, and I've been really bad about this. Seth has emailed us a few times, but he also hosts a podcast called Movie Friends, so you should go and check that out. I feel like I have owed him a plug for a couple episodes, and I always forget, so apologies, but go and listen to that. So he sent us an email titled, Indiana Jones and the Boring of Whatever. All right, coming in hot.
All right.
Howdy, Betsy and Trent. Hey, do you like movies about archaeology?
Do I?
What about movies with fun, compelling leads? Do you like Nazis? Well, if your answer to any of the above is a resounding no, then I recommend the Indiana Jones series.
I should have said no after the last question, but okay, go ahead.
All joking aside, I've never connected with these movies despite them being a big hit in my house growing up and revisiting them as an adult with my own kid. The only indie flick, he wrote I-N-D-I-E, the only indie flick, haha, see what he did there? The only indie flick that I enjoy is the much maligned, very racist Temple of Doom. I know, what a bad guy, right?
That's right.
My love for Temple of Doom perhaps comes from never having seen it until recently. My mother, God rest her soul, she's still alive, but she could use the rest.
I'm shaking my head.
Deemed it too scary, even though my older brothers had all seen it. Yeah, it's the moms. The moms didn't want us to have this.
It's a common theme.
This didn't bother me because of the aforementioned disinterest in the series. I think Short Round rules. He's funny and witty and does the talking, which is exactly what a stuffy, stoic character like Indy needs.
Hell yeah.
I also will go to bat for Willie, who I had always heard was, quote, annoying and complained a bunch. But you know what? If I was on a minecart of doom ride through an evil mountain, I would probably be complaining too.
I would give her that. It's all of the other complaining.
It's the rest of the movie. From the moment we meet her.
Yeah. And they're all around the same level too. So she's complaining about the minecart thing. That's fine. But she's at the same 11 the rest of the movie. Does everything have to be an 11 for you, lady?
For her, I guess it does.
Yes. Anyway,
nervously awaiting listening to the episode on it where it's declared that anyone that likes this should be put out to cinematic pasture. Keep up the good work, Seth. Yes, we actually are recording this before the episode comes out. We did this out of sequence a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, Seth sent this in after Raiders came out, but before the Temple of Doom episode is out. So I await your full review of our thoughts about it. No, that's okay. But yeah, thank you, Seth, for that one. And I think Seth is going to be making a return in a future episode with another email. We're going to save that till later.
Yes, we don't mind getting emails about what we are going to watch when you know what we're going to watch.
Yeah, we rarely actually put out the specific movies that we're going to be watching. But if you feel the need to send us the email right away once you know, by all means. We won't read it if we're afraid of spoilers.
Yes, not so secret, guys. We're watching Crystal Skull next. And I guarantee people will have opinions. So send us your opinions. You can email us that email again, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You could also reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow all those. We are active, so if you send us a message, we're going to see it.
Yep.
We would also love if you would support the show by clicking the link in the podcast description and throwing us a buck to bring you more quality nonsense like the Indiana Jones series and our opinions therein. But we would most like for you to go to where you are listening to this podcast and rate us 5 stars. 5 stars for 5 Indiana Jones movies.
Oh, God.
And they're all solid gold, Trent. Solid gold.
I will reserve judgment.
Well, I haven't seen one myself, so I will also reserve judgment.
And one final thing here I wanted to bring up here. I haven't talked about this with Betsy yet. But that's nothing. If you are currently listening to our podcast on some weird service that you don't necessarily like, what we would recommend is that you go to the Spotify page and start listening to us on Spotify, because we're trying to grow our numbers over on Spotify. So, if you don't mind, that would help us out a lot.
Go live there for a while.
Yeah.
There you go. But with that, this is going to be the end of the episode. That was The Last Crusade. We've got more Wednesday episodes, a couple of random things in between while we're doing this series, and then Crystal Skull. And at the end of all of this, we're going to be seeing the new Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny. So look forward to all of that. Until next time, this has been Never Seen It, and I'm Betsy.
I'm Trent.
And we will catch you later.
Fuck Nazis.